Hey guys, this is Issues with Tatty One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. Good morning, good evening, whenever I catch you. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. I hope we have a great little time together here, and that when you leave after hearing me, something in this will resonate with you and just make your day, your thoughts, whatever, just a little bit better. I'm hoping. Guys, a few of you have asked me about the Whittakers. Oh, please like, subscribe, and share because it does help, and I would like to grow my channel. A few of you have said to me, written to me, asked about what's going on with the Whittakers. Have you heard anything? Haven't heard anything. Looked into a few things. Nothing. I've not heard anything. So, and a few of you have said Mark was good to them and da da da. And yes, I didn't say he wasn't. And this wasn't Tyler's fault. And no, I didn't say it was. What happened, as you guys know the story, the Whittakers are an inbred family in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. And there's several of them. But the matriarch of the family is Betty. And then she has a brother named Larry who apparently lives right across the driveway street. It's there's nothing that goes on that street, really. I think the mailman goes by that street. There's not a lot of people that go by. But so it's like the size of a driveway, to be honest with you, across from the main house where a lot of the Whittakers live. So Larry, Betty's brother, lives across the street. Those two are very functioning. And Larry lives with his daughter named BJ, who's Betty Jr. Okay, so that's Betty's niece. Across the driveway road is where Betty lives. And Betty lives there with her sister Lorraine, her brother Ray, Lorraine's son Timmy. Now, and there's a Kenneth, and Kenneth is another brother who lives next door in like a converted Home Depot shed, okay? Which on the outside is very nice, and on the inside was very clean but incomplete, but clean and organized. So the people that live in the house where Betty lives, because the family's inbred, Betty is the most functioning. She is the matriarch, okay? And she takes care of her sister Lorraine, who is unable to work, barely speaks, very disabled mentally all the way around. Her son Timmy, extremely disabled, could not work and get a job. Lorraine and Betty's brother Ray, who is Ray, who actually barks or makes sounds that seem to bark, and certainly cannot work. And I think Kenneth does work, but his money is kept separate. So inside of that house where Betty is, there's one person who is a caregiver for all three of those people that should be on SSI. Okay? So Mark Leda, soft white underbelly, who takes unbelievable photos, but I really admire his channel because if you think about it, everybody has a story to tell is very much like that. The spirit of that, telling stories about people that other people would ordinarily not care enough to know about. And Mark has done it by grabbing people with his brilliant photography. If you've seen, I took a course in photography. I'm the one that took that picture. Okay, that's not a good picture. But what I did learn about black and white photography is that in order for it to be like perfect in one way and just one way alone, and the color and the gradients, is that there has to be a complete black and there has to be a complete white, and there should be each shade that makes it in between. Now, that fails that. But if you look at Mark's stuff, his stuff is just, the spirit is there. The spirit is there. So through there, he found this family. Through his passion, he found this family, and he took still photographs. And then he went back with his video. And that's how we were introduced. And the name of his channel is Soft White Underbelly. He has done a GoFundMe to help the Whittakers, which had become something to help them get a house. This has been going on for a very long time. Mark has given them their money. There's no question that Mark has given them their money. And he hasn't asked for anything in return. Okay, so Tyler Oliveira, who has another page, I think it's Tyler Oliveira Investigates. Now, in all fairness, I subscribed to both of these guys before this happened. Okay, because Tyler too wants to tell stories of people that most people, wouldn't pay attention to. Tyler's a lot more sensationalism, and Mark is not. It's just two different ways of telling a story. So, Tyler is interested in talking about the Whittakers and doing, a piece on them. So he goes and he reaches out to Mark Soft White Underbelly. They respond back by saying, we have an exclusive rights, but thank you for your interest, blah, blah, blah. Well, the exclusive right thing was an untruth. In all fairness to Tyler, that was an untruth. So Tyler sees an interview or something that conflicts what Mark said, and it's out of Mark's own mouth. So Tyler says, man, we were just lied to. And in fact, he was, right? So Tyler, instead of going forward and saying, I don't understand, maybe there was a misunderstanding. I understand you did this, and you told me that we can't do that because you have exclusive rights. And then I just saw this and you don't have exclusive rights. Can you please explain? Because if not, I'm going to go further. So Tyler didn't have to do that, and he didn't do that. So he reached out to somebody else who could be somebody who's a mediator or an intermittent person between the two, the Whittakers and potentially Tyler. He reaches out to this woman. Her name's, you could look it up. This woman has probably been harassed. I don't want that to happen. So reaches out to this woman, and this woman says, yes, and if you wouldn't mind, I guess, could you bring groceries? Now I'm speculating because Tyler does bring groceries. Or maybe Tyler said, hey, we could bring some groceries. I think that's what Tyler said. We could bring some groceries, introduce ourselves, see if they're comfortable with us. We won't cross any boundaries. Blah, blah, blah. When Tyler gets to the Whittakers, he does. He comes with the groceries, and Tyler says Paige sent him. Now, what Tyler says is an untruth, too. That's not what happened. Tyler misrepresented himself, and what he should have said was, hey, listen, I've reached out to Paige, and she said you might be interested in some groceries. But Tyler, he did misrepresent himself. Then comes to find out while Tyler's doing his video that the money, he's asking what's up with the house, the GoFundMe with the house, and Betty acts ignorant. And you could watch that video. She acts ignorant as if Mark, she doesn't offer up, hell, Mark's giving us money, we just didn't spend it on the house. She says, Mark, what house? We know nothing about a house. And I spoke to Mark. Mark said we don't have no money. She says she don't know about it, and she don't got no money in what house? I mean, so she plays completely dumb. She don't know where the money is. She ain't got no money. There ain't no house. What are you talking about? And all of this shit where we clearly know she does everything except say, Mark has sent us money every time we've asked for it. That never comes into play. It's as if, who's Mark? What are you talking about? Mark sees that video because Tyler makes a video and calls Mark out on his honor. Well, there's something that happened in the middle of, apparently there's something that happened between Tyler reaching out to Mark and to Paige. Apparently, there's another channel, Vegas something. I'll put the title. I'll write it. I guess Tyler reached out to them, according to this guy, and they say to Tyler, yeah, we'll introduce you to them for $10,000. So if that's true, Tyler has Mark, who's told him an untruth, and somebody else is trying to charge them. So he reaches out to Paige. That's just in all fairness when you're looking at the picture, okay? So, but Tyler calling Mark out on his honor instead of saying to a guy that you see has a little bit of credibility because he has, you know where to find him, right? Because he has a website, he has a channel, he has a lot to lose. that I'm not saying Tyler owed Mark the opportunity to say, hey, look at all this happened, and now this money, and this is now something I found out, and would you explain yourself? Because if you don't explain yourself, I am going to put this out there, because there's a lot of people that would have been defrauded, and that's not fair. So if you could please just explain for all these people that have donated money what happened. You know, I won't put my video out there. Tyler could have done that. He didn't. He put out a video and said, Mark, later, you know, in your honor, I'm willing to donate. You should donate. And let's get this together with your GoFundMe and my GoFundMe and $10,000 that I'll donate. Mark says, Tyler, you started this shit. And he puts out all the receipts that Mark gave money every time, every single time. Okay, so then that happens, and Mark reaches out to Betty Whittaker and says, what happened here? Because he feels so hurt and so mistreated and blah, 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 blah. And I get it. I would too. So she acts ignorant. She doesn't know who Tyler is. She really pulls the innocent and ignorant role. Then Mark gets a phone call from BJ. Remember BJ, I told you, Larry's daughter? So that's Betty's niece. So apparently Mark gets a phone call. Not apparently, we heard the phone call. A hysterically crying BJ saying that she needs financial help because her daddy died. Mark doesn't trust it. He says, I don't believe anything until I hear it from Betty. Betty says, yeah, he did. It doesn't feel right with Mark. The day of the funeral, he goes down there, flies across country from California. He flies from California to Virginia, and to fly into West Virginia to go to the funeral, only to find out, no, Larry ain't dead. Of course not. And Betty just told him that because BJ told him to. Now the thing is, people are blaming Mark because why did you give so much money away? Why were you just giving it away? Why weren't you more or less safeguarding it? And Mark's saying, and I don't blame him, I wouldn't want to safeguard it. He trusted Betty. Don't blame it on Mark. And then the controversy is now, basically, well, you had a GoFundMe to help them buy a house, but it went to things that Mark thought was enhancing their life. When he thought it was going to something other than that, he stopped it. Tyler has since, because of his involvement, has turned around and said, listen, let us both pitch in and just do the right thing here. And Mark is saying, I'm done. I did the right thing. I'm done. That's where we have been left off here. However, how anybody could blame anybody other than the Whittakers for this, and only Betty Whittaker, because she had the responsibility to look out for those people in her house that she owed that to. She is the caretaker of that home because 3 of the people living in that home with her are unable to care for themselves. And she let them down. And her excuse to Mark was, that's what her niece told her to do. Well, you can explain that to the loss that, Timmy lit up, Ray lit up. They lit up when Mark came by. Lorraine talked. We saw Lorraine talk, and that's sad. That's the sad part. But I also have to say it's probably sad for Mark too. A few of you have said, well, Mark exploited them. We would have known nothing about them. They maybe never would have went to the fair. Maybe Timmy would have never experienced that. Maybe Ray would have never experienced that. To go into a store and pick up a big truck that you could RC. Like, Mark did that. Mark did the stuff that, so that other channel, that Vegas channel that wanted to charge them and then badmouth Tyler. I feel like what Tyler did, he could have done a different way. However, he probably wouldn't have done that at all had Mark had told him the truth. We could go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Unfortunately, the first untruth came from Mark. He could have just been honest and said, listen, this family truthfully does not want to be bothered. If there's anything I could help you with, and then whatever. But at least Mark would have told him the truth, but would have been 100%. He's not 100% clean. He told an untruth where I guess Tyler felt like, and then with the other people trying to
manipulate $10,000.
I mean, come on. So again, I follow both channels. I still follow both channels. They just come from two different approaches. As far as the Whittakers go, you have to remember that there's SSI and that there's 3 people in that home on SSI. And there's also obviously Betty, who's the caretaker for the 3 that are in the home. So they probably get paid about $3,000, $3,200 a month minimum. And they're living in the middle of West Virginia, not even in the middle of West Virginia, on a mountain in West Virginia. I don't think it's really that expensive to live there. They had the opportunity to do better. They got the siding. They wouldn't have gotten that siding without Mark. They wouldn't have gotten the new roof without Mark. They wouldn't have gotten the new vehicles. They called their priorities. So not did every single cent go to DRUGS. That's not true, because they had things like those ATV I had one. I sound so old. Those ATV 4-wheel things. They had those ATVs. They had one. They had a couple newer vehicles. I don't know if they were brand new, but they had some newer vehicles. They had the siding on the house. They had the new roof on the house. That came from Mark. I think they had new windows too. Could they have done better with their money? Absolutely. But, they got a lot of things that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So that's a good thing. And I think that, yes, it could have gone further in their life without some of the things that we can't see that they bought. Okay? But people have said, and I agree with this, you could buy them a mansion. It's going to end up looking like what it does now. That doesn't matter. So, and they don't want that. They want to stay there. They want to stay in that area, and anyway, guys, that's what I know. And I don't think I know anything more. I did look further. What do you think? Because there hasn't seemed to have been much involvement as of late with the Whittakers. What do you think's going on? I'm a little concerned with people taking advantage of them. But I don't know. I think Betty's too smart for that, to be honest with you. And I think BJ is too, and so is Larry. And, Anyway, guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. And always, always, always be yourself and be kind. Thanks, guys.